a week ago, one of the Alexes, they're not really Alexes this time, I don't know which one, and I were walking through Tower Dorm, and we saw a cardboard sign with letters written in generic store brand ketchup that read, Mr. G's Restaurant. Outside the closet with the brooms and the vacuum cleaner near Mr. Dunn's apartment, right by Lower Lounge, we were both pretty hungry, so we walked in to find Mr. G sitting behind a counter cooking something in a big deep fryer with a hungry-looking fluffy dog sitting right next to him, whose name we found out to be Waldo. Mr. G greeted us with,
"How you two slimeballs doing?"
To which I nervously replied, "Good. And exactly how long have you had this restaurant?" To which Mr. G said,
"About 5 minutes."
And then I thought about how he brought a deep fryer into the closet in the span of 5 minutes. Then I asked him, to which he replied,
"I always carry a deep fryer around in my back pocket."
"That makes sense, because you never know when you're randomly going to need a deep fryer." To which I asked, "What's on the menu?" And Mr. G responded,
"Just these funky old English-speaking fried clams and this generic store-brand ketchup."
To which I responded, "We'll take them."
"Coming right up."
He said as he dumped a bunch of funky fried clams into a bread basket and placed it on the counter in front of us. We looked at those funky fried clams and they stared right back at us. Dead in the eyes! It was a threatening stare, and muttered a couple horrible generic sounding words which were completely incomprehensible to us, which left us in a which started a back and forth conversation between the funky fried clams, which left us in a complete and utter state of bewilderment.
Bewilderment.
Yes. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's Restaurant. After listening to a while to those funky fried clams debating using a horrible generic sounding language, we found that we needed to leave, so we asked for our bill. Unfortunately, we discovered that our bill was over $9 trillion, a Planet Hollywood thermos signed by Benjamin Fish, a large plot of land located in the frozen, war-torn wastes of northern Alaska, which was currently being fought over by Sarah Palin and a few infuriated former KGB members from Siberia interested in Yeti farming and rebuilding the Soviet Union, that we decided that we didn't have the means to pay off our bill, so we expressed this to Mr. G.
"Well, all right,"
sighed Mr. G.
"You can do me a favor and it'll be on the house."
"What's the favor?" I asked.
"See the dog sing by my feet? His name is Waldo. I want you boys to do something with him. I can't have him cluttering up the restaurant and eating any more of my old English-speaking funky fried clams."
So me and him took Waldo, the big chocolate-colored goon of a dog, outside. We walked around for a bit trying to figure out what to do with him. We couldn't keep him in our rooms, and we couldn't definitely not give him back to his rightful owner, Mr. Shear. So eventually, don't ask me why or how, decided it would be best to dump him in the pond. As we were dumping him in the pond, an angry-looking anonymous administrator on duty walked outside and confronted us. "Boys, what the heck are you doing to poor old Waldo?" he or she hollered. We were scared. And what ended up happening was that they called the police. It wasn't a big deal. We only got a couple misdemeanors that would stay on our permanent record, or that we wouldn't regret one bit. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's Restaurant. So yesterday I walked into the local recruiting station to join the army, and I got rejected. The recruiting officer said my history as a criminal would put the entire operations in the frozen wastes of northern Alaska fighting off ex-KGB members would be at risk, because the Soviets were starting to weaponize polar bears. And I said, "I'm a killing machine! I can take a polar bear with my bare hands, no pun intended. Why I could." Nathan, pick up your cues. Pick up your cues, Nathan.
He didn't.
Pick up your cues.
All right. "Son, that will be enough. I will review your file and send for you in an hour. Until then, sit on the bench on the left side of the hallway."
So I went and sat on the bench with a bunch of morbidly obese men who were waiting in line for a completely different reason than myself. Apparently, a rumor had surfaced that the army was now administrating jazz, also known as the fat people scooters you see riding around on Walmart and theme parks. He came back and said I was mentally incapable of fighting polar bears because I was colorblind, color white. So I didn't stand for the social injustice. So I sat down on the bench and sang, "You can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant." So I think we should all go down to our local recruiting station and sing a bar from Mr. G's restaurant. Just because I couldn't go to the unknown regions of Alaska and fight polar bears, just because I couldn't tell them apart from the snow. If one person did this, just one person, they would call him crazy. If 2 people did it, they'd be considered a prank. If 15 people went down to our local recruiting station and sang a bar from Mr. G's restaurant, they would think it's some sort of messed up prank made on some random internet image board or site. Anyways, I'm tired of standing up and speaking really fast to you guys. So I'm just gonna end this song. Anyways, I don't want you to sing along with me. I mean it, really. I just want to.
Don't start singing. Don't start
Sit back down, relax, hear Gabi sing. Maybe I don't know what he's doing. So, anyways, if you can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant, you can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant. This always happens. Somehow the crowd gets in mind that they want to sing with. Fine. So, this time we'll do it when it comes around the bar. Anytime now, Jared. Anytime.
We're waiting with bated breath.
You can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Mr. G's restaurant. Woo!